Hey everybody, welcome back to Friday Fire. I'm your host, Reggie Holmes of Enthuse Creative. I'm really excited to be joined today on this episode by Chris Miller of Elevate Sales Advisors. Chris, welcome to our show.
Hey, thanks, Reggie. Hey, glad to be here. Like I told you a little earlier on a wet Friday day like today, this is perfect.
It is wet out there in the DMV, so if you're driving around, please do be careful. We don't want any accidents out there on the Beltway or anything like that. Chris, we're really excited to have you here. Why don't you get started by just telling people a little bit about your professional journey and how you got started in your business?
Yeah. First and foremost, I'm a former Air Force officer. And then after that time, which was about 6 years, I spent the rest of my time in large Fortune 500 companies. Every organization I was with was somewhere in between 30,000 to the largest was probably over 400,000 employees. My experience in sales started roughly around 20 years ago, just as when I ran my own business line, all the way to where I eventually ran a sales organization for an energy company. But like many Americans, COVID came around. Changes in organizations gave me an opportunity for career change. Um, those things, you initially look at them, you see it as a negative, but it's really a positive. I've always had the desire to work with small and mid-sized businesses. Um, Thought about forming my own company, but the timing, the circumstances, whatever it might be, was never quite right. So this time around, when I started thinking about what did I want to do, what do I want to do next, starting my own business came to the top of the list. And then I was introduced to an organization called Sales Acceleration, which I have a licensing agreement with. And the beauty of that is it allowed me to really jumpstart my business. And one of the things I really looked at was how could I take my experience being someone in sales, sales executive, but also look at how can I take back control of my life, not spend 70, 80% of my time on the road traveling and still be able to work with small and mid-sized businesses, which, believe it or not, most people work for a small or mid-sized business. And so with that, I was able to form a business in which I am a sales consultant for those same size organizations.
Great. And let me ask you this. So, a lot of people uh, maybe have a misconception of sales, or you say that word around them, and they act a certain way. They don't really like the idea of sales or selling, and some people are drawn to it. They just love it. Where do you sort of fall in terms of sales? Obviously, you do that, so you're comfortable with it. But was there an adjustment for you when it came to making sales your career?
It really wasn't necessarily an adjustment because it happened slowly and it was much more of an evolution than just a step. So I got into sales just by when I spoke earlier about having and running my own business line. Well, sales and business development was a portion of it. While it might have only been 30%, it was a portion of it. And so during that time is when it came to me that I really love the people interaction portion that comes with sales as opposed to other parts of businesses in which, while, yeah, there's people interaction, it's not the main focus of it. And so I never try to, when I talk to people, I say, don't think of sales as something negative. Everyone always thinks about a used car salesman. That's what comes to their mind when they think about sales. And so it creates a negative connotation or image in their head. But the way I like to look at it is everybody's a salesperson one way or the other. I mean, even if you go in and you're applying for a job and you're sitting down at a job interview, you're a salesperson. You're selling yourself.
Right.
So, when you start to think of it that way, it kind of takes a lot of the negativity around sales and professional sales off the table.
Great point. Great point. There's selling happening all the time in every context. That's really important for people to remember. So you're obviously doing your business. You're having success. Where do you see yourself? Let's say 3 to 5 years down the road in your practice.
Wow, 3 to 5 years, that's a long time. Especially for someone who's relatively new in the business. But I will say one of the things that I have engaged in within the last several months is looking at a strategic partnership that focuses a lot more on exit planning. And so in exit planning, that's working with business owners who are looking to sell or in some cases transfer their business, in that next 2 to 3 to 5 year period.
Right.
And so what I would like to see for myself in the next, let's say, 2 to 5 years is one, have that up and running where there are several clients that I'm working with my partner on developing their business and preparing it for the exit. And in 5 years, clearly, I'd like to be able to say that we've successfully worked with a few businesses, changed the course, and created more value for them as they look at retirement, and they have a legacy that they've left behind of a strong small business that is not only positive financially for them, but also of value to the community.
Great, great. There's a lot of people that in our audience that are fellow small business owners, and they might be maybe too small to work with you right now, but they want to grow to that level. What's one thing that a small business, maybe a solo business owner, can learn or put into practice today that will help them right away with sales? We don't want you to give
Yeah,
everything away, but like what's the one thing that our audience can take away that will help them with either their approach or their execution of sales in their business?
yeah. One of the things that businesses can do, the most simple one is get a CRM, which is a customer relationship management tool. It doesn't have to be expensive. There are CRMs that you can get that are actually free, and it will help them in putting together their leads, being able to understand what their pipeline is, being able to pass information across their organization so that even if they are a solopreneur now, and let's say in another year, they go and they hire someone to address sales or the sales component, they now have a really solid database in which information on clients can be passed on, and it's also going to help them with forecasting, and all of those are pieces that as businesses start to grow, it's necessary. Even when you start looking at, are you needing financing or any type of things to grow your business, being able to have a solid pipeline and forecast that you can clearly just print out and provide to someone that as a part of your overall business plan is critical. I mean, you'd be surprised that probably 75-80% of small businesses don't have any sort of a CRM in place.
Great point. Great point. That's an excellent point. I want to back up for 1 minute. You mentioned your Air Force background. Thank you for your service. What's one lesson from your time in the Air Force that you think directly sort of translates to what you're doing now as an entrepreneur?
The biggest piece is probably in your dealing with the management of people.
Hmm.
You go as a 22-year-old into the Air Force or whether it's any armed service, and immediately you're placed in with responsibility over others who, in some cases, are old enough to be a parent. You're interacting with people from all over the country with different backgrounds, different experiences, and that's what it is when you're doing business. When you're doing business, every day when you walk into a room or get on the phone, get on a Zoom call, you're not necessarily going to be interacting with someone that shares the same views, has
Mhm.
the same likes and dislikes as you do. But the one thing that you do have to know is you respect your differences, you rally around those things in which you share, and in the end, it's all about business. And so, as long as you can respect people's differences,
Mhm.
and you can each treat each other with a certain level of respect, everything else will work itself out.
Well said, well said, and that's definitely applicable to the business world, as we all do. Come from different backgrounds, have different points of view. It makes it challenging sometimes, but it makes it fun to be in business as well, because there's different perspectives and points of view. So, appreciate you saying that. So, as we sort of close up here, what's one piece of advice that you could give to anyone that might be thinking about starting a business or new in terms of starting their business?
Um, the easiest thing I would say if you're thinking about starting a business, um, the first thing is you probably want to make certain that you have a plan and you clearly know what it is, who you want to serve, who your intended audience is, and the value you want to bring to them. And once you know that piece, you can put together a plan that allows you to step out and create a product or service. Um, but the last thing I'll say on that part is probably bigger than anything else, and that is to stay away from the noise. And yeah, I'm talking about this from a business perspective, but it's probably applicable no matter what you're doing. Is that you're going to always have negative people and naysayers around you, and so you have to be able to either stay away from it or filter it out.
Yeah,
If you aren't passionate about what you're doing, and have confidence in yourself and your ability to execute and carry out the plan that you develop, then you're set for failure already from the beginning. And so the last thing you want to have is those negative people around you, because every day is not going to be a great day.
right.
Um, but the truth is in the end, to have belief in what you're doing, and persevere.
Great job. Great job. That's well said. We're going to get you out of here on this. Where can people find you? Where can they learn more about your services that you offer? How can people connect with you?
The first way to connect with me is you can go to the web. I have a website, www.elevateSalesAdvisors.com. Or one of the great easiest ways to find me is on LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn. If you just look up Christopher Miller, it's CSL MBA, you'll find my profile. Reach out to me, ask me to connect, send me some notes. If you want to have a one-on-one discussion with me, ask me for a one-on-one. I'm always willing to meet with individuals. um, if you ask for a one-on-one, there's a rare occurrence in which I will turn down the opportunity to meet and talk to someone new.
Yes, please take advantage of that. I had an opportunity to hear Chris give a workshop a couple weeks ago. It was very informative, excellent information, and really anybody could understand it and walk away with some practical things that will help them in their sales process. So, thank you for that. And to everyone out there, I hope you enjoyed this edition. We will leave Chris's information in the description and in the comments on the video. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a blessed Friday and a great weekend. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Reggie.
Thank you.